This is the Dave Elliott Show.
And good morning. Welcome into the Dave Elliott Show. It is a Thursday, and I'm so glad you could join us today. We'll be around until about 8:45, 8:50, somewhere in that neighborhood. I know you'll want to be a part of it, so thank you for being part of what we do here every day. Coming up on the show today, we're going to talk with a guy from northern Michigan. His name is Bill B. He is a satirist, a columnist, a former broadcaster, and we're going to talk about the backlash to a tourism stunt, I guess you could say, that was put on by a couple of guys we talked about last week. And joining us this morning is our pal, Kathy Dugan, from somewhere in a Victorian mansion on 8th Street, or just off 8th Street, I guess, in Traverse City, Michigan. You are on 8th Street?
That's my actual address, but really you don't park on 8th to get in here. You park on the side street.
Well, now I know when I come to visit, I'll know where to park.
Yeah.
We're going to get into that in a minute, what's going on. But I have some exciting news, and I'm happy to share that we are partnering with Sizzle Dining again this year. And beginning later this month, we're going to be giving you a chance to win $100 dining out gift certificates at one of the 140 Sizzle Dining restaurants throughout Southwest Florida. This is a big deal. I've been working with Guy Clark on this for a number of years. He's been doing it 9 years. This will be his 10th year of doing Sizzle Dining. And the idea is to get you to go to a local restaurant that you may not have tried before. They have fixed price menus. There will be fixed price lunches and dinners. And you can go in and do a lot of damage for not a lot of money. So all the proceeds go to Blessings in a Backpack, which is a great program, a nonprofit that puts kids and food together. I mean, it's very exciting stuff. Blessings in a Backpack is a great organization. They've been the beneficiary of the Sizzle Dining experience for many, many years. And I can't go through the whole list of restaurants. There are 140 of them, but trust me when I tell you, there are a lot of them there. And so we're happy to be partnering with them. We'll have more information at daveontheair.com. We will also be talking about it on the show a little bit. We're going to have Guy Clark, the founder of Sizzle Dining, on with us on Monday, and we're going to also be talking with the folks from Blessings in a Backpack. It's a great organization, and Sizzle Dining is a pretty cool opportunity. So there you go. That's what's happening. What's going on up there? We had major rain and thunder down here.
We had a little sprinkling, but before we start that, I just want to say I wouldn't call Josh and Jace a stunt, please.
Well, no, here's why I call them. Here's why I say it's a stunt, because what they do is they go around the country, and they go to small or medium-sized or large towns, and they eat food and they sample goods, and it's kind of a stunt. I don't mean that in a negative way.
Just they're influencers.
They are.
That sounds better.
Okay, well, we'll refer to them as influencers then.
But I just would say, I don't know, just Josh, because they are the joy that they have in the area. It's not just restaurants and stuff. Like they got to Traverse City and they went to the beach, and they're like, and they showed themselves going to the beach and looking at the beauty, and they're like, wow, this place is amazing, you know. Or they'll be riding in the car and they're like, how can you guys stand the bumps? Or like, how come that, Michigan's a pretty long state, not quite as big as Florida. I don't know, from end to end we could talk about that, but how long the car ride is, everything, but they do it with joy. So that's why it's hard.
Oh, they're very positive guys. And what happened was there was some backlash on a website called Overheard. And the backlash was from people who were playing the role of curmudgeon and didn't appreciate the attention being drawn to their city. So what happened was my newfound friend Bill B wrote an article. He's a columnist. He writes a thing called the Daily Bee, and we'll be talking to him about this in a few minutes.
And by the way, all of this is on Facebook.
Everything's on Facebook,
It's
right?
It's a Facebook group called Overheard in Traverse City. Plus, some of this happened. Josh and Jay, so these two guys we talked about last week, that they are visiting from England. They are right now. They go around to different places in the U.S. and then they kind of highlight that. They have 5 million followers. They're like amazing.
Yeah.
Everybody I know is following them in Michigan. I can tell. I see their likes. I see their comments, and so we were very excited. And then we were very excited for them to come to Traverse City. And not only were there we have this group Overheard in Traverse City, that Facebook group that it's not very regulated for its rules of being nice, and so there's a lot of meanness on there overall. But not only on there, but on Josh and Jace's own posts, people were saying things like, "Who cares?" or like even saying things like
get away
or
don't come back and.
Right.
And we have we have people here in Southwest Florida. And the reason that I have you on every week is to kind of compare notes between two tourist communities that are similar in some ways and not alike in others. And among the ways they're not alike is affluence. Down here in Naples, Florida, or Southwest Florida, there are a lot of affluent people. We have a road called Gulf Shore Boulevard, another one called Gordon Drive, and there are mansions along the beaches. Some of these mansions sell for $35-40 million. And you have waterfront properties on Old Mission Peninsula primarily that don't sell for $35-40 million, but they're still where the rich people go to live.
Several million. We have the horse shows up here. Mark Wahlberg was just here for the horse shows. Like they said, David Schwimmer, he's been around town.
David Schwimmer from Friends.
Yeah, from Friends. We have visitors. They maybe some of them live here. We do have some that live here. Amy Adams lives here.
Amy Adams.
Mm-hmm.
I love
Actress.
Amy Adams. Yeah.
Yeah, and she and her husband are part owners of a winery. Just different people. We do have some people, but not to the extent that you do. So.
Well, the problem down here is everybody wants to be anonymous. So if you want to find out who owns a house here, you have to know what corporation they bought the house under. It's one of those kind of deals.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
we're going to be talking with Bill in just about 5 minutes. And when we do, we'll get the lowdown. He wrote a column that basically said, we need to talk. And he writes a lot of satire. He had a very funny column about the Costco that you have in your community. And I have a Costco comparison story for you that we'll share with Bill in just a few minutes.
Yeah, his was East and West. But yeah, but what it comes down to, like we talked about, and I have seen comments. I've looked at the Naples, Facebook groups, and they're similar, but I think they're more, they police their comments more. But
yeah, they're not moderate. They're moderated a little more than they are on yours.
Right. But there's a lot of, stop promoting the area. We don't want tourists. But this was just meanness. Sometimes it's just plain meanness, some of the things that they said. And it really offended Josh and Jace, these two guys. And they put up a post showing some of it. They blacked out the people's names and they said, "What's going on? This isn't very nice." And so it ended up the whole, like, it gave us a bad rep in Traverse City. We had people from posting on our Overheard in Traverse City from other cities going, "You're giving, what's wrong with you? That's a blight. You've been so mean all along, you guys, anyways, to tourists." And it's something that it's going to be a black mark on our city going forward, really. In my opinion.
we have the same. There is a mindset here, not a big mindset, but there is a mindset here that says we don't want the snowbirds. That's what we call our winter residents. We don't want the snowbirds coming down and ruining our town. Well, ruining our town, except for all the great restaurants and the live theater that we have and the arts, the museum, the symphony, all of that would not exist without the snowbirds.
Yeah.
And I think we need to remember that. And you would not have the economic tourism, the tourism economy, I should say, that you have now without these people. I mean, hundreds of thousands show up for the National Cherry Festival, right?
That's true. And not only that, a lot of the great restaurants and things that we have, they're able to survive the whole year because of the summer traffic.
Exactly.
And then we have some fun, like you were talking about, fun activities. We have fun activities that go on in the summer that we wouldn't have without that, and so. And it's fun to see people loving and enjoying. I like to see people having fun and enjoying the area. It is a beautiful area.
Sure. And to be honest with you, I kind of enjoy it when we have the hubbub of our winter visitors here. You have summer visitors, we have winter visitors.
Yeah, exactly. And just wait, it calms right down in the winter.
Yep, I imagine it probably does.
Now, yeah, sort of. I mean, it's still busier than ever, if you grew up here. Whereas I often hear, you don't know what it was like. You don't know. But, things change. I like living in a place. I like living in a place that has, it's small townish, but it has a city, a lot of city things.
Right.
Too,
well, I lived there in the
amenities.
80s. I lived there from 79 to 89. And it was pretty much the same town it is now, except there are way more hotels now than when I was there. Yeah, and you have a Great Wolf Lodge, which we just got here in Naples.
Well, but we have things like the bus system is pretty. We have a pretty good mass transit for the city and even the county. Things like that we have because it's more of a town, and just we have like you said, there are stores, there are restaurants, all those things that out in the country, out in outer Michigan, away from Traverse City, that you don't have. So,
well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a break, and on the other side of this break, we're going to talk with Bill B. of the Daily Bee from Northern Michigan. So stay there. We'll be right back.
You've got Dave Elliott.
And a minute out for Alice Sweetwaters. It's sizzling summer out there. You can tell just by looking at the steam on the windows in the morning. But Alice Sweetwaters has summer sizzling lunch specials just for you every day from 11 to 4. Mondays, the Smash Burger Beach Break for $12. Tuesday, it's Taco Tuesday for $12. Wednesday, the Dockside Duo, which is my favorite, 3 chicken fingers, 3 fried shrimp served with golden fries, $12. And Thursday, the classic French dip. You'll love it. Don't forget Fridays, the local catch lunch, and don't forget Alice Sweetwaters for dinner and snacks and everything in between. It's Alice Sweetwaters, my favorite place to eat, and yours too, I'm sure, at the corner of Glades Boulevard and Airport Road, diagonally across from the East Naples Home Depot. Alice Sweetwaters, where they serve crabs, shrimps, and big people.
Have you finally found your dream home, or are you looking to refinance or pull equity from your home? Then call Alpha Title Services of Florida. Don't let fraud or hidden property issues, such as liens, unpaid taxes, boundary mistakes, or a cloud on title, to name a few, ruin your big day. That's why you need Alpha Title Services in your corner. They do the deep digging to complete your contract conditions and assure your title is clear in order to provide the ultimate protection on your family's investment. Before you sign on the dotted line, make sure your future will be truly yours by contacting Alpha Title Services at 239-260-1495. To protect your dream, let your realtor or lender know you choose Alpha Title Services of Florida to handle all of your closing needs. Trust the people who have been serving the real estate community since 1999. Trust the people you can call to ask questions before signing your contract. Trust Alpha Title Services of Florida. Online at alphatitleservices.com or call 239-260-1495.
Are you ready for a culinary experience like no other? Mark your calendars for the event of the season. Sizzle Dining is happening starting September 1st through the 30th. Picture this, a world of flavors, a celebration of taste, and a chance to make a difference in our community. Savor delectable dishes, expertly crafted by top chefs, each plate telling a story of passion and creativity. But that's not all. Sizzle Dining benefits blessings in a backpack of Southwest Florida. Florida, a charity dedicated to ensuring no child has a hungry weekend. Dine with purpose. Every time you indulge in the exquisite offerings during Sizzle Dining, a portion of the proceeds will go directly to Blessings in the Backpack. So gather your loved ones, invite your friends, and come experience culinary excellence while making a meaningful impact. Share your moments with hashtag Dine with Purpose. Sizzle Dining, taking place the entire month of September, where taste, compassion, and community come together in perfect harmony. Reserve your table today, because with Sizzle Dining, every bite counts and every meal matters.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
He's not really old. He's 45, plus shipping and handling. Dave Elliott.
All right, we're back here on the Dave Elliott Show, and apparently we are having a little difficulty reaching our newfound friend Bill B. I've left him a message, and we'll probably hear from him. I'm hopeful in the next several minutes or so. But in the meantime, we're here chatting with our other longtime friend from the north end of I-75, Kathy Dugan, who joins us from about 1,200 miles away.
Yeah. Well, I know you haven't been on Facebook in the last few years, but I wonder if you guys have somebody like Bill B. He's just, he posts things all the time, and it's like he posts what you're thinking, or he posts some controversial thing, and then it's fun to read all of the all of the people getting on his case. Or
We don't have anybody locally who does. We used to have a guy who wrote for the local newspaper, the Naples Daily News. His name was Jeff Lytle, and he was the editorial page editor of the newspaper, and people used to love to read his columns on Sunday. He would do little tidbits and stories. He would do profiles on people. They weren't really satire, but he had his fingers on the pulse of what was happening in the community. And I kind of miss Jeff. In fact, maybe I'll call him up and have him on the show sometime, because he was a bright light in the annals of journalism here in Southwest Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And now that we have a paper that is owned by a big corporation, we don't get the kind of local coverage that we used to get. We get, kind of cookie cutter news. There are two papers in our area. There's the Fort Myers News Press and the Naples Daily News. They're both owned by Gannett, which owns USA Today.
Mm-hmm.
All of their local papers look exactly the same. The two local papers often have the exact same okay. I just got a note from Bill. He's got a little hitch, but he'll be with us soon.
Okay, sounds good. See, now here I don't up here I feel, or maybe it's just me, that we have the online sort of like newspaper. You would call it, like, it's called the Ticker, Traverse City Ticker. Your niece is one of the main contributors
My
to
niece
that.
is a writer for that paper. It's an online paper, and it looks like it's very successful.
Oh yeah, but a lot of things are people like Bill posting on Facebook, and that's, I'm feeling that
Actually,
people are more reading.
Now that I think about it, we do have, I don't know what the heck I was thinking. We do have somebody here who does what Bill B does. His name is J.C. Bruce, and he's my good friend, and we have him on the show every Monday.
Uh-huh.
And he and I are going to be starting a podcast, which I'm going to tell you more about later when we get it rolling.
Well, that's cool.
But he writes articles that have to do with all kinds of stuff. Sometimes he's satirical, sometimes he's snarky, sometimes he's just plain outright serious.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like Bill B.
Yes, exactly. It does. And I feel that those are the people are not reading their newspapers as much. And these are the people that we're listening to, that we're reading. That's some people get their news from people like that these days, and so it's interesting to see the change. And
I found this story, and I don't know if did you see the story on the news the other week about a woman who was stopped for having her phone out while she was driving here in Florida. And he said, I know you had your phone in your right hand. I could see it. Well, she held up her right arm and there's no hand.
Oh,
She doesn't have a hand on her right arm.
Gee.
But he insisted that she had the phone in her right hand, even though it wasn't there. And he gave her a ticket anyway.
Yeah. Well, that easily can be proved.
Well, it was.
Go back to the phone.
Namely, body cam video, which is all over the news. The story, of course, went viral. Well, it was in Palm Beach County, and the deputy has been disciplined for this incident. According to a summary of a PBSO Internal Affairs report, PBSO Deputy Zany Quesada has received a verbal reprimand for the incident on February 11th when he pulled over Kathleen Thomas, a Lake Worth Beach resident, for texting while driving. Thomas, who has only one arm, well, she's got two arms, but the hand is missing off her right arm, got a $116 ticket. The traffic stop in the 1800 block of North Dixie Highway in Lake Worth Beach was recorded on Deputy Quesada's body-worn camera. He told Thomas he saw her holding a cell phone in her right hand while driving, even though he could see clearly during the traffic stop that she, had no right hand. The Internal Affairs report says, quote, Deputy Sheriff Zany Quesada misunderstood the legal elements necessary to establish a violation of wireless communication device handheld while driving, first offense. The Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office had the following response. And then they go on to say, everybody's held responsible, blah, 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 blah. But I just think it's hilarious that this guy insisted that she was talking on her phone, which he repeatedly said he saw in her right hand when there was no right hand to be seen. It just didn't exist.
Yeah, you think he would have said, oh, I must have been mistaken right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And not double down on it.
My bad.
Because, not only body cam, but it's so easy. You get the information from the cellular company. It can tell whether texts had been sent at that time. You can tell whether a phone has been held. If they also can take, data from the phone. So he's not going to win. Plus just, politeness or whatever. I don't know.
He clearly didn't win.
Yeah. But,
if the truth be known.
I know, but he should know. I guess I know from true crime things, all the information.
Does this qualify as true crime? I don't know if this qualifies as a crime.
I can know all the information they can gather from a phone.
A few months ago, actually back, I think it was supposed to be in February, maybe January, I can't remember. Barry Manilow was supposed to make an appearance here in Southwest Florida at the Hertz Arena, which is the hockey arena here in town. And he had to cancel his performance at the last minute because he had lung cancer and had to undergo treatment for it. Well, then they announced that they would be rescheduling it. They tentatively came up with some dates. Those have been postponed. And now, just a couple of days ago, Tuesday, he rescheduled his Kentucky show just 45 minutes before it was set to start. That must have ticked off the people that bought tickets and went to the trouble of getting babysitters and parking and all that. You
Something's going on.
When you get a refund on a ticket for an event, it does not cover the parking. And I don't know if you've ever gone to a special event, but sometimes parking can be as high as $30. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, where you live.
Disney.
It's not as bad where I live.
I think
a lot of times
Disney is up to like $30 or $35.
But still, it makes people not want to buy tickets to him. It's gonna, but anyway.
So Manilow said, due to unforeseen circumstances, tonight's show in Lexington has been rescheduled. No other explanation was given. While some slammed Manilow is disrespectful for the late rescheduling. Others were quick to offer him words of encouragement. He's 82. And I interviewed him a few, I don't know, maybe in December or November of last year.
Mm-hmm.
And you could hear in his voice that he is fatigued. So my guess is this lung cancer thing is more serious than he's letting on. And it's going to be difficult for him to go back on the tour. He did say a couple of months ago in an interview that he was having trouble with his stamina in terms of being able to sustain while singing. In other words, it was difficult for him to sing because of his throat. And he said he could do maybe 2 songs and then he'd have to, sit down and take a break.
I've seen a lot of the older bands, that were even Ian Anderson from Jethro Tull. Different one, they'll come and they'll be like one of the original guys.
Yeah.
But and and I'll record them, and then later I'll hear the voice doesn't sound the same. But when I'm there, to me it sounds just the same.
Well, arena sound can be a little deceiving.
Right. But you don't care. I don't care. When I'm there, it's just nice to see the band. And even if it's the one guy. In fact, I'm glad that 99% of the time they'll have a young guy playing the drums. I'm glad. I'm glad for that. And even I saw the Eagles, and they, had the original drummer, but then they had
Randy Meisner.
No, it's anyway, the original drummer for the Eagles is anyway.
It doesn't matter.
But he does a lot of the singing too. But anyway, they had like 2 alternate drummers. One of them was his son.
The Beach
They were
Boys,
doing the actual drumming. I'm thinking he was up there, and I'm sure some of it you heard. But anyway,
well, the Beach Boys, I think they only have one member of the
Love,
band, Mike Love. Yeah.
Mike Love. I saw them about a year or 2 ago, but it was so much fun with him. Even though they had a bunch of young guys up there singing, to me it sounded just the same. And
was John Stamos
with
him? Was John Stamos with them when you saw them?
No, I don't think so.
Because he sometimes sits in with the Beach Boys.
No, he was just there.
And Vince Gill sits in with the Eagles.
Yeah, he does. He does. But and as does But and a lot of these bands have their children in there, but it's fine. I've seen quite a few that do.
I'm trying to think, who was it that I saw? There was a junior in some.
Well, in the Eagles,
band.
The young. I'm hesitating to say
the
because
Eaglets.
Yeah, I'm hesitating because of my memory of names it was never good, and now it's a lot worse. But anyway, same, like I said, I saw Bachman Turner Overdrive last year, and it was all family except for
Randy
the main guy.
Bachman.
Yep, Randy Bachman, but it was great. It was really great. He said, so I like seeing a lot of the old ones like that.
Well, I'm somewhat acquainted with Gary Puckett. You remember Gary Puckett in the Union Gap?
Sort of.
Young Girl,
And
Get
then
Out of My
remember the name.
Mind.
Yeah.
And a few other power ballads. Well, he lives not too far from here. And I've had a couple of interactions with him. We've had him on the show. And he is wildly popular. He tours all over the country and all over the world. He goes to New Zealand and different places like that. And he gets, just big crowds wherever he attends. There's a real desire for those of us who have a certain age to go back to the 60s and the 70s and relive the music.
And if they don't, and same thing, we saw America last year. They only had one guy. It just depends. Some of them, it just sounds, the same. When that sounds great still, or it like I said, I'll record it. At the time, I feel like it just sounds just the same. Then I look at the recording, I'm like, oh yeah, their voice isn't quite what it was. But I in my mind, it's great when I'm there, so I don't care.
Well, I think people just get a kick out of seeing them perform.
Yeah,
even if it's not the entire original band. I mean, it can't be 50 years later, except for the
I know
Stones.
I know I don't sound the same,
The
but
Stones are still out there. I think almost every original band member is still with the Rolling Stones.
right. Some bands are like that.
Yeah.
Yep. And then there are the younger bands. My brother and I, we went to some of the younger groups, and they still have everybody there, like Pearl Jam,
Or
and
Coldplay.
yep, I saw them too,
Yeah.
with him, but it's okay. Now, when I saw Ian Anderson, his voice has gone quite a bit, but he had other people singing. Same thing it happened. I saw, but anyways, but Ian, he still plays the flute, and he was leaning at the end. He was leaning out. We all rushed the stage, and he was leaning over, playing towards every person. So he looked right at me, and he was playing the,
Oh, really?
like, yeah, the experience was just amazing. Yeah.
Do you think you inspired a note from the flute?
I don't know
You were
about
the B
that.
flat.
Yeah, right. Probably. That's what it would have been.
It's hard saying. Did you hear,
Yeah.
school starts next Tuesday here in Florida.
Oh, wow.
Actually, Monday in Lee County and Tuesday in Collier County, where we are.
Ooh.
And it always starts the first 10 days of August. I'm not sure why it does. It just does.
Yeah.
And so football kicks off, I think, next week, high school football. Tonight, the pro football preseason happens with the Hall of Fame game, and I think it's Arizona and I forget who playing tonight.
Yeah.
Maybe the Eagles. I don't know. That game's going to be on TV, but it's a preseason game, so it doesn't count. It'll be the first chance to see the teams in action, and they won't be putting their A players out there. They'll be saving them for the actual season.
Yeah.
But up in Cape Coral, Florida, which is about an hour from where we sit at this moment here in Lee County, they have fired at Mariner High School 4 football coaches and put 2 others on administrative leave as the school board investigates events that occurred during a recent lock-in at the school, according to the Fort Myers News Press. The school sent a letter to parents on August 4th stating that it had relieved head coach Tyron Jones and assistant coach Casey Zorbas of their coaching duties due to a lack of supervision by the staff during the gathering. 4 other assistant coaches who were not school district employees were also fired. While it's unclear what exactly happened during the team building event, Principal Tom Michelle confirmed that no hazing took place. However, students who violated the school's expectations will be held accountable for their actions, as stated in a letter. What could possibly go wrong when you get a bunch of high school boys together and a bunch of male coaches? I mean, I hope it wasn't anything terrible. I hope it was just a policy breach.
Yeah.
And they won't say what it is. They're supposed to be kicking off their football season next Friday, a week from tomorrow. So, mystery there. But that story has gone national.
Huh.
I'm reading about it right now in USA Today, the national newspaper. Still waiting to hear from Bill B.
Yeah, let's go back to talking about that, because, this is one of the things that Bill said in his post on Facebook was, here we have these people that are just having joy in our area and showing us how wonderful it is, like going to the beach. Yesterday, we didn't hear from them. And then last night they posted, oh, we had made a mistake and we went down. So basically hinting that they went down. We have on the dunes, this one area, there's signs that say, be careful about going down. You go down and it's really hard to come back up. Things like that. The joy.
And by the way, you're talking about Sleeping Bear Dunes National
Sleeping Bear
Lakeshore.
Dunes National Lakeshore. Yeah,
which
on Lake
has
Michigan.
150-foot tall sand dunes. You
Mhm.
can go up to the top, and then you can go up to the tippy top. There's kind of, you think you're at the top, and then you look over the edge, and then there's more to go. And if you go up all the way, you can see Lake Michigan on one side from the very top, which I've never done, but I have climbed up to the first level.
Right.
And then you can
But
see Glen Lake on the other side.
yeah, and well, this is like there's one spot where you go down, and it's really hard to come up.
Yep.
And in fact, if you have to be, a lot of people have to be saved by
Park rangers.
yeah, or whatever, the Coast Guard, and it can cost like $3,000 off a sign, like be careful. But anyway, the point is they're showing us all these wonderful, all over the state. They've been going all these wonderful things, and to have people kind of say, yeah, cut them down and say they're doing it, it's all fake or whatever. Bill is saying here all these people are saying, oh, the tourists, they're ruining the area. Really, we're ruining it by our bad attitudes. We're the ones that are wrong. And so I really like Bill's perspective on that. And he does
Well,
do
he
that quite
also
often.
one of the
Mhm.
one of the responders. I read a bunch of the comments to the negative comments, the positive comments to the negative comments. And one of the people pointed out that these two young British guys are pointing out to locals stuff that they take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
You might forget about going to the beach because you live here, you don't go to the beach every day.
Yeah.
Or you might forget about the little hidden gem that's just around the corner that you hadn't been to in years.
Yeah, or you might forget going to the beach, how beautiful it is. You
Yeah.
take it for granted, but to have somebody come in like, wow, I had to stop. We're driving in and it was so pretty. I had to get out and look at how wonderful. Or the sunsets, they're like, you just see them looking at it going, oh, what an amazing thing.
Well, do you think these two guys, Jason? No, it's
Josh and
and
Jace.
Jace,
Yeah.
Jase. Do you think that this will deter them from coming back to your area?
Well, I don't, they said, this is what they said after posting it the next day. They said, we realize that there are bad people, or people that are just negative, but they said, everybody we've met has been so positive, so welcoming that we're just going to move on. And so
Right.
that's what they've done. But I mean, this actually is the second time they've been to Michigan this year. We were happy that they came back. We don't expect them to go back, but if they ever did come back to Michigan, I don't know. But what it's going to do is leave a lasting negative, a bad taste in people's mouth from around the area, the people that visit, because they all saw that. They're all following them, and there've been numerous posts on Facebook from these people that saying, "What what is wrong with you guys?" And it really, a lot of us believe that these people with the negative comments, these keyboard warriors, so to say, they might not even live here, but
They're trolls.
yeah, yeah. But it's going to leave a lasting impression about our town. I can see that already. And
Well,
some,
here's what I would argue: 50 years of being the top tourist destination in the Lower Peninsula of Michigan doesn't get erased with one blog post.
right. Well, what we have to offer, it's still attractive. I call it the paradise of Michigan because that's not going to go away. But it's kind of, it does leave you feeling kind of sad that had to happen, in our town.
Well, and by the way, we refer to the coastline in Naples as the Paradise Coast.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's
Yeah.
known as in the marketing.
Right. It's similar. And I think, like I said, Dave, you haven't been on Facebook for a while. You just started again, as you said.
Yeah.
I think there is sort of that attitude down there, but I think it's more controlled. We've had this uncontrolled overheard in Northern and Traverse City group and the people can do whatever they want. They can post anonymously, so they're used to getting away with being mean, and we don't stop them. A lot of times we don't try to counteract what they're saying.
Well, I think it's good that they have a forum for which they can express their opinions.
Yes.
And it's good that they're being uncensored to a certain extent, because you don't want them to be able to say, well, they wouldn't even listen to what I had to say.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
good in the sense of free speech.
But yeah.
But it isn't good if it doesn't represent the majority
Mm-hmm.
of people and they let it proliferate. And fortunately, I thought the positive comments that were in response to these naysayers were far more effective. I thought
Yes.
they were better written. They made sense. They weren't reactionary. They were just reacting.
Mm-hmm.
They made good points. And when you put all that together, I think that outdid the negative Nellies.
Right.
There.
I mean, everybody I knew, including me, wrote positive things on there. But but and it's good to have like the overheard in Traverse City. Like you're right. I do like looking on there. You find out, oh, this happened, and there's that natural curiosity. There's a car accident or something, and people will say, I saw this, or even family members will get on and say, da da da, and then you find the whole story that you don't see in the news. But it's not that I need to know those things, but it's kind of, it's sort of interesting to hear, what happened behind the scenes, and that's where you'll hear it.
I think there's a universality to living in a tourist community that is similar in every town in America that has a tourist trade. People hate it when the streets are crowded and you can't get into a restaurant. They love it when everybody goes home, but then again, about halfway through that, they're going, well, why, where's all the action? What do we do in your case, what do we do in the wintertime? What you do is you enjoy your community.
Yeah.
And here in the summertime, it used to be that the sidewalks rolled up at 9:00 at night, and you couldn't nothing was open. There might have been 2 restaurants in town that were serving past 6:00. Now it's a full-time, year-round economy. We have dining options like you can't believe. We have entertainment options. We have 2 equity theater companies in this town. There's the Gulf Shore Playhouse, which was recently built at a cost of about $75 million. We have the Theater Zone, which is a smaller venue but features New York equity players. And we have the Sugden Theater, which is a world-class community theater. We have the Artist Naples facility, which has a big museum, a performing arts hall, a black box theater. We have movie theaters. We have dinner theaters, not in Naples, but up in Fort Myers. There's a Broadway Palm Dinner Theater up there. We have...
and we have a lot of things here. And we have, all year long, we have the Opera House. We have shows that come in, concerts, all types of things. Art. There are a lot of artists that live in the area, so there's always art shows. There's quite a bit that goes on. Of course, we have the big movie theaters, and on New Year's Eve we have we call the cherry ball drop, which we bring in thousands of. I remember the first year they had it, they thought there'd be like 500 people, and there were 10,000. And now it's even more. They have music, and people. It just I've never seen, even with the Cherry Festival, the downtown does not get this packed.
And that wouldn't happen without visitors coming in and spending money.
Oh yeah, and they do. They fill up the hotels and everything. But right, and so I mean, there is all that, but anyway, but it's a great place to live.
Well,
I guess we're gonna have to call Bill. I was calling him the inimitable Bill. I have to call him the elusive Bill B.
The elusive Bill B. Well, if we don't get him on today, we'll try for him next week.
Okay, yeah. What he has to say always is interesting. He did today. He compared actually us with Maui. That as far as they have a bad reputation of not wanting people there. It's different reasons.
Maui. Oh,
yeah.
Hawaii, yeah.
Yeah, it's different reasons. Part of it is, because of the indigenous population, which we have a little bit of that here, but it's still similar. This is gonna be the start of a anti-tourist reputation, unless we turn around our attitudes.
I don't think it is. And I'll tell you why. Again, it's because you have a reputation for being a party town, a great place to go to get away for the weekend. You've got Great Wolf Lodge. You've got hotels. You've got things to do outdoors. You've got
Right.
the open space, which people may not know. It's a big green area near the Clinch Park Marina.
Yeah, during the water. Used to have,
Right on the water.
Yeah. But so I mean, people will come, but we'll just have the, unless we turn things around, we're going to have a bad reputation.
Well,
as
for
far
a
as
while, maybe.
accepting. Yeah, but I mean, but maybe not though. If we continue this, people will start noticing that all of the bad comments that we have had. Somebody will post on, overheard in Traverse City, like, "Oh, I'm coming into town. Where should I go for this? Where's a good beach?" And there'll be like, you know, maybe one comment answering that, and then 50 comments saying, "Oh, don't come, don't come. It's terrible. We have too many tourists," and all that. And I mean, it's true. I went to Norway last winter, and it was similar. That they are very anti-tourist, and I was aware of that. In fact, when I met somebody, I would, say, "I'm a tourist, but I'm not one of the bad ones." You know, basically, because their big thing is a lot of them drive. They don't know how to drive on ice and snow, and they can have accident. In fact, they're like, "See, these tourists are killers. They belong in jail," because one of them got jailed. That's kind of like, but basically the attitude is that's where they belong, jail. You know what I mean? They clog up our roads. They don't pull over, because they're narrow roads and there's pullovers, but
I
they
don't
don't
know
pull
if
over
I-
when we're behind them.
I don't know if I would jail a tourist unless they jaywalked.
Well, no, so this person, he had caused an accident where people died, and so that's why he ended up in jail. But it was kind of like they're saying, "Well, they should be in jail." Oh, that's good. That's just where the tourists belong,
I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take another break here. Maybe Bill
Okay.
will call us during the break. Maybe he won't. But we'll be back with more with
Yeah, well-
our good friend Kathy Dugan from
Well, you know what,
Michigan.
Dave? Remember, I have to go. I'll have to leave. In a minute. Take my dog to the groomer.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll call it a morning then with you, Kathy. And if I do hear from Bill, I
Yeah.
will schedule him for next week.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks for
Thanks,
joining
Dave.
us. Thanks for joining us this morning, and I hope you have fun with your dog at the groomer. I don't think anybody's ever said those words before.
I know, but I was thinking that I should have just said, "I have to go," but I do. I don't want to. You know how it is when you have a dog and you go to the groomer.
They don't
You
wait.
you don't want to upset them.
Right. All right. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks a lot for joining
All
us
righty.
this morning.
Take care, Dave. Thanks.
Kathy Dugan joining us this morning from the resort community of Traverse City, Michigan, and we'll be right back.
You've got Dave Elliott.
I'd like to take a minute to talk to you about your hearing, and especially if you are experiencing hearing problems or you've noticed recently that your hearing just isn't as acute as it used to be. Well, the folks at Naples Audiology and Hearing Center can take care of that for you. My friend, audiologist and owner Christine Peacock, and her entire staff are dedicated to one thing and one thing only. And no, it's not the freshly baked chocolate chip cookies you'll find every day when you walk in, but it's your hearing. If you wear cochlear implants, they can help you with that. If you wear hearing aids, they can help you tune them up or get them repaired if they're under warranty, or if you need to be replacing them, they can help you with that too. At Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, they are the experts. They've been around a long time, and it's not this one-size-fits-all thing with them because everybody's hearing concerns are unique. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, online at napleshearingcenter.com, or call them at 239-434-2434 and tell them you heard about it on the Dave Elliott Show.
Are you ready for a culinary experience like no other? Mark your calendars for the event of the season. Sizzle Dining is happening starting September 1st through the 30th. Picture this, a world of flavors, a celebration of taste, and a chance to make a difference in our community. Savor delectable dishes, expertly crafted by top chefs, each plate telling a story of passion and creativity. But that's not all. Sizzle Dining benefits Blessings in a Backpack of Southwest Florida, a charity dedicated to ensuring no child has a hungry weekend. Dine with purpose. Every time you indulge in the exquisite offerings during Sizzle Dining, a portion of the proceeds will go directly to Blessings in a Backpack. So gather your loved ones, invite your friends, and come experience culinary excellence while making a meaningful impact. Share your moments with #DineWithPurpose. Sizzle Dining, taking place the entire month of September, where taste, compassion, and community come together in perfect harmony. Reserve your table today, because with Sizzle Dining, every bite counts and every meal matters.
It's 4 a.m., Monday,
and you're literally sucking baby snot through a tube because she's congested. Man, that's love. And if you love her that much, love her enough to make sure she's buckled in the right car seat. To make sure your child's in the right seat for their age and size, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
He's reached that age where his brain goes, "You probably shouldn't say that," to "I can't wait to see where this goes." Dave Elliott.
All right, thank you for joining us this morning here on this Thursday morning on the first full week of August, I guess you could say. And we were able to reach our friend Bill B., who joins us now from way up north in Traverse City, Michigan. Bill, you just missed our friend Kathy, who lives in Traverse City, who co-hosts with us on the show on Thursdays. But first of all, thank you for calling. I know you had some schedule hitches that got in the way here.
Yeah, I appreciate you accommodating me. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. Let me ask you this. You are an advocate for all things Northwestern Lower Michigan, I guess. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you got to be where you are today.
I used to do radio as well, just like you. I'm well-traveled. I used to live in Hartford, Connecticut, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Miami, Florida, Detroit. I've been all over the place. And now I'm a recovering radio addict, I guess you could say. And now I
Sorry, I think we're losing you there. You must be in a bad coverage area.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, that's much better. Yes. Well, it was much better.
I'm not sure. Is the connection good now? Sorry, I'm driving to work. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you now. Yeah, you must. I think you're probably in an area that's a little sketchy.
Over by the airport, maybe so. I was just saying I'm a recovering radio addict, just like yourself, and now I got a job in marketing, and I just post a lot of local stuff. I don't really consider myself a journalist, but I'm fascinated by Traverse City and how it all operates, and I post a lot of stuff about it and give my opinion. So
it's called
I'm just kind of a big mouth.
It's called the Daily Bee, and it's on Facebook, right?
Yeah.
So these two guys, Josh and Jace, these two British guys, they're influencers, 5 million followers, came to your community, and for some reason there was some backlash over their, I guess you could call it a goodwill tour of the area. What happened?
Well, I don't know if we should say this.
You can say whatever you want.
All right. Well, I mean, they're being paid by Pure Michigan, is my understanding, to be here, because they came here last winter, and people went crazy over these guys. I'd never heard of them until they came to Michigan, but they're these British guys that claim they want to, I guess, tour all 50 states and learn about American culture. They came to Michigan. People lost their minds. Pure Michigan said, "Oh, this is interesting. Maybe we should have these guys come back in summer when Michigan is actually, moving on all cylinders."
Mm-hmm.
So one of the guys came in. He was a surprise guest at the governor's conference at the Grand Traverse Resort this past spring, and announced that they'd be coming back for a summer tour. And I can't find anything that verifies 100% that they're being paid to be here, but it sure seems like they're being paid to be here. If they're touring all 50 states, why are you coming back to the same state again? Different season, different time, but I'm pretty sure they're being paid to be here. So that's sort of the full disclosure on that. but yeah, so they're here again, and everybody's posting about them. I saw them here, I saw them there. They love this, they love that. They posted this, and I think locals are some locals, not me. Some people are just kind of annoyed because that we've already done this and we're doing this again, 6 months later.
Too much of a good thing.
I guess so. And I do think that some of the anxiety that makes people angry up here is just sort of our crisis here. Nobody can actually really afford to live in Traverse City. We all have multiple jobs. Housing is off the chart. People can't afford to live here. And here we are advertising this area for more people to come here again. And I think some people are really stuck on that. I don't really know how I feel about that. I mean, housing is a major issue here.
Well, you're talking about Naples, Florida. Everything you've said has been said about this community as well. The affluent can afford to live here, but the people who work in the city can't afford to live in the area.
It's tragic.
Yeah. Well, it happens in tourist towns, don't you think?
Yeah. I don't know what the solution is. I'm not part of the local government. I don't have the answers. But I see the problem, and I hear people when they talk about it, and I'm like, man, I feel for you. I have multiple jobs. I live in Traverse City. I'm a single dad. It's hard to manage, but I love the area so much, so I work my butt off to maintain, some sort of decent life for me and my kids.
So anyway, there was this big online backlash when they appeared the last time, even sponsored or not sponsored. And you wrote a pretty interesting piece where normally you write satire. You wrote a kind of a serious piece the other day about it.
Yeah, people love these guys, and it's very out of character for them to post anything negative. I think they generally ignore people that don't like them or say nasty things, but it became so overwhelming that they felt like they needed to address it. And they put a message out to their millions of followers and people of Traverse City saying, what's your problem? Like, we're just here to enjoy your area and talk about it and boost up local businesses, because, I mean, there's it's very obvious when they go somewhere and they post about it, people see an influx of guests, of visitors, of patrons, whatever. They go to a restaurant, all of a sudden the restaurant's full the next day because they went there. And for them to go on their feed and say, Traverse City, what's your problem? You're being so nasty. It's really a bad look. And we rely heavily on tourism, just like Naples. I'm sure it's a catch-22. You need it, but locals are like, we feel like we're being pushed out. So yeah, it's just, they've never really posted anything negative before. And that was like their first time going down that road. And it's about Traverse City. And it really hurts my heart because this is such a beautiful area. And there are so many more good people than bad people. And yeah, it's something needed to be said. Like, what's wrong with you guys,
So you've lived in, you said Philly, Miami, Detroit. What is it that attracted you to the area where you live now?
It was a job. I was doing radio like yourself, and I kept moving up in market size and event. And I was working for all the conglomerates. And I was like, well, we all know the direction the radio is going. I need to find something more sustainable. I thought small market radio would be the answer, answering directly to an owner. So I moved up here. We had some family in the area, me and my wife at the time, and there was an opportunity. So I came up here, and that's what brought me up here. I grew up in Grand Rapids. So this is a place that anybody downstate visited every summer. So I was like, wow, that would be a dream to live in Traverse City. That'd be cool.
Well, I'll tell you, I lived there from 79 to 89. I was in radio almost the entire time when I was up there. Worked at WTCM, WCCW, and was a production manager at the ABC affiliate up there, which I guess is now run by the NBC affiliate.
Okay.
And I can tell you one thing. You're not going to get rich being in radio in small markets like that. Agreed?
Yeah. Agreed. Yes, it was a significant pay cut to come here, and the cost of living is outrageous. So it was like I went from being okay to being in poverty just to enjoy a beach.
Well, what is the expression? A view of the bay is half the pay?
Yeah. That's what they say.
I know. Well, Bill, how can people read your column? Regardless of whether you live in Traverse City, Michigan or not, your columns are very entertaining. I looked at the one you wrote about Costco the other day. We have a similar Costco story here. A second one is under construction in Naples, Florida right now. And the people in the community that it's adjacent to were very upset and tried to fight it. To no avail, the county commission approved it, and it's now being built. But your columns are cute, they're funny, and I think they're relatable to a lot of people regardless of where they live. How can people find your Daily Bee column?
Oh, thank you. That's weird that people would fight against the Costco. I love Costco. Put up all the Costcos you want.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook.com/Broadway on air is how you can find me.
It's Facebook.com/Broadway on air.
Yes,
hey,
sir.
Thanks for joining us this morning. It's been a pleasure, and I hope we can maybe hook up again sometime and talk more about the commonalities of the two ends of I-75.
Let's do it. That'd be great. Thank you
All
so
right.
much for having me. It was really nice to talk to you.
My pleasure. You too. Thanks, Bill. We appreciate it. Bill B., a columnist from northern Michigan, talking about why he loves his area as much as we love where we live. And I would argue that without too much, I think, distraction, that people are here because they want to be, right? You're here because you want to be here. You're not here because you have to be. You're here because you want to be. Happy birthdays today. Leland Orser is 66. I'm sorry, he's an actor, but I don't know who he is. Michelle Yeoh, one of the great actors of our time, is 64. She was in that weird movie, Everything Everywhere All at Once. She was also in the Star Trek Discovery series. M. Night Shyamalan, 56. Alex Avery, an actor from Rangoon and Coalition, is 55. Jason O'Mara from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and Terra Nova is 54. Jerry Hollowell Horner, one of the Spice Girls, is 54. Vera Farmiga, I believe is how you say her name, 53. Ever Carradine from The Handmaid's Tales and The Runaway is 52. You remember Soleil Moon Frye, Punky Brewster? How could you ever forget her? She's the big 5-0. I remember her when she was just a little toddler. Melissa George from Grey's Anatomy, 50. Scott MacArthur from The Righteous Gemstones is 47. He's hilarious in The Righteous Gemstones. Leslie Odom Jr., whose most recent headlining gig was in Hamilton, is 45. Romola Garai, actress-director for Atonement and Emma, is 44. And Ty Simpkins is 25 years old. He was in Jurassic World. So send them birthday greetings. You'll be glad you did. Hey, coming up in just about 40 minutes, we're going to be playing The Impossible Question. Gives somebody a chance to win a $25 gift certificate to Alice Sweetwater's. Doesn't that sound good? We're also going to be checking in with our former pal, our former, I guess you could call him sidekick, and now the proprietor of his own podcast called Mike Check Sports, Dave Wasson. We're going to be looking at what we can expect from high school football in the area this year, so I'm looking forward to that. He should be with us momentarily. In the meantime, on this date in history in 1787, the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia began to debate a draft of the U.S. Constitution. 1991 was the year of birth of the World Wide Web. The development of global internet access and linking was announced by two innovators at the CERN laboratory in Geneva, one of whom was Berners-Lee. That was in Switzerland. In 1993, 2 years later, there were only 130 websites. That was it. 2 years later, 130. A lot of people thought, that's never going to catch on. We got telephones, we got telegraph, we got shortwave radio, we whatever we got. Who's going to need the internet? Certainly not me. Then in 1998, former White House intern Monica Lewinsky spent 8.5 hours testifying before a grand jury about her relationship with President Clinton, I don't need to tell you how that turned out. I did not have sexual relations with that woman. In 2003 in Vercelli, Italy, a 32-year-old man showed up at the police station and asked them to arrest him. He explained that he was wanted by the cops in another town called Biella, but that he didn't like the jail there and knew the Vercelli jail had much better accommodations. The cops checked out his claims, discovered he was in fact a fugitive, and took him off to their jail. So there's a moment that'll live on in history. 21 years ago, in Macon, Georgia, Dion Blanks figured he couldn't go wrong stealing money from the blind guy who ran the snack bar. He snatched $600 from the till, and sure enough, the blind cashier never even noticed. Unfortunately for Dion, the snack bar was in the basement of the county courthouse, you see. The word was quickly sent out, and deputies found Dion waiting with his mother outside a fifth-floor courtroom where he was scheduled to go before the judge on another theft charge. So Dion wound up getting a double day in court. Sorry, I got a little something going on with my voice here this morning. In other historical news, on this date in 2011, insurgents shot down a U.S. military helicopter in Afghanistan, killing 30 Americans, most of them belonging to the elite Navy commando unit that had slain Osama bin Laden. 7 Afghan commandos also died. And on this date in 2015, Jon Stewart thought he was hosting The Daily Show for the last time, and he did for a while. Of course, he's back on the show now. I think he's on Mondays, or is he on every night? It's past my bedtime, so I don't get to see it. All right, in news from around the state and the country, after nearly 3 years of legal battles, a federal appeals court has upheld a Florida child protection law, sometimes referred to as the drag ban, which drew strong criticism from Democrats and LGBTQ advocates and sparked nationwide discussions about censorship. In an 8-5 opinion Tuesday, the majority of the full panel of the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals vacated a decision by a lower court that had stopped the DeSantis administration from enforcing the law and affirmed that the 2023 Protection of Children Act was not unconstitutional. The majority did, however, agree with critics that the law passed by the Florida legislature was in fact aimed at drag performances, but they opined that the law did not target drag shows writ large, just those they say were obscene for children. There is no doubt the act is rational. We will not second-guess the Florida legislature's decision to regulate obscenity, wrote U.S. District Judge Andrew Brasher on behalf of the majority. The ruling means Florida can fine, jail, or strip licenses from businesses who expose children to so-called lewd live performances, including drag. Brasher, who was appointed to the bench by President Donald Trump, wrote that preventing children from attending adult live performances obscene for them is rationally related to Florida's interest in safeguarding the well-being of minors. But the judges who dissented agreed with advocates who have argued the law was vague and encroached on their First Amendment rights. Judge Robin Rosenbaum, a Barack Obama appointee, wrote in her dissent that the Circuit Court had embraced a mess-around and find-out posture toward the First Amendment. Nonetheless, they ruled that it was not unconstitutional. More coming up right after this.
You've got Dave Elliott.
Have you finally found your dream home, or are you looking to refinance or pull equity from your home? Then call Alpha Title Services of Florida. Don't let fraud or hidden property issues, such as liens, unpaid taxes, boundary mistakes, or a cloud on title, to name a few, ruin your big day. That's why you need Alpha Title Services in your corner. They do the deep digging to complete your contract conditions and assure your title is clear in order to provide the ultimate protection on your family's investment. Before you sign on the dotted line, make sure your future will be truly yours by contacting Alpha Title Services at 239-260-1495. To protect your dream, let your realtor or lender know you choose Alpha Title Services of Florida to handle all of your closing needs. Trust the people who have been serving the real estate community since 1999. Trust the people you can call to ask questions before signing your contract. Trust Alpha Title Services of Florida. Online at alphatitleservices.com or call 239-260-1495.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver, and we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. My grandpa Lou is the reason why my dad and I started racing, and I'm really proud to follow in his tracks. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. I've learned a lot on this journey with my grandpa Lou, and the memories of my grandpa will always be with me. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Talking about Alzheimer's can be really tough, but if you notice something, have a conversation with your loved one. Encourage them to see a doctor or offer to go with them. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. The Alzheimer's Association provides care, support, and research to help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Hey, wouldn't it be great if life came with a remote control? You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind. Like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome. But prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot fast and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When Dave talks, his lips actually move. Dave Elliott.
Thank you very much. We're here until about 10 minutes to 9 this morning, and we have the impossible question coming up in a few minutes, a chance for you to win a $25 gift certificate to Alice Sweetwater's. But there is other stuff to be talked about here this morning. One of the things that I'm happy to talk about is my old pal Matt Mangus's favorite pizza place up in Fort Myers, Uncle Rico's, is apparently getting ready to expand. They have a business on Cleveland Avenue at the corner of Hanson Street up there. And apparently they're looking to grow the business. They announced the shop would be expanding into the space next door, which will double the size of the current space. So that's all good news. And they'll be able to feed more people in the store. I think they had a pretty small space. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 5 tables was all. And they'll give them seating for 50 people, as well as room for them to prepare those great pies. I have yet to try an Uncle Rico's pizza. We have so many good pizza places in Naples that I don't really feel like I have to drive all that distance to get a good pie. But Uncle Rico's, for those of you who are Uncle Rico's fans, is expanding. And that's got to be good news for everybody in Fort Myers. Well, the peak of hurricane season is a little more than a month away, and the front page of the National Hurricane Center website prominently displays a blank map of the ocean that says tropical cyclone activity is not expected during the next 7 days. The most active time of the year for tropical storms and hurricanes in the Atlantic extends from August through October with a peak on September 10th, but for now, the basin remains, well, unusually quiet, I think it's safe to say, according to the Washington Post anyway. September 10th will be the peak of hurricane season, and that's not really necessarily true for this year, but it is the traditional, the historic peak for when hurricanes attack us. El Nino playing a major role with the record warm water pooling across the eastern and central tropical Pacific Ocean. Because of this pattern, the Atlantic hurricane season is expected to be quieter than normal and maybe among the tamest on record. The most recent super El Nino years in 2015, 1997, and 1982. Let me see. Well, those aren't even evenly spaced, are they? Featured 4, 3, and 2 Atlantic hurricanes, respectively, all below the seasonal average of 7. Rising air over the unusually warm Pacific strengthens upper-level winds that sweep into the Atlantic. There, the winds act like kind of like a hedge trimmer, kind of pruning the tops of storms before they can organize and intensify. Dry, dusty air from Africa's Sahara has also recently hindered storm development. But hurricane season is a marathon, not a sprint, and a season that's been relatively calm can still produce a devastating storm. As the season's peak nears, the area north of the Caribbean to the east coast of the United States is one to watch for storms, and that's where they're going to be when they do develop their Gulf storms that we have to worry about farther away from the winds of El Nino, which create that wind shear and chops off the tops of the storms. But we're still going to have warm water, and warm water is among some of the most important fuels that a hurricane can have. Do you know who Perez Hilton is? He's an influencer, gossip columnist. I'm a little late to the game on this one, but he has been safely taken from his home and transported by Miami-Dade Fire Rescue to a local hospital where he is receiving medical attention. This happened yesterday. According to the sheriff's office, crisis response officers and licensed mental health professionals also are providing support to his family. Actually, I think it happened Tuesday night. He live-streamed himself cutting his body while covered in blood and repeatedly saying he wanted to die before the broadcast was removed by TikTok. A person believed to be Hilton was later taken by ambulance from his home. The Miami-Dade Sheriff's Office said it received multiple calls about a person live-streaming acts of self-harm and quickly located the individual's residence. Relatives at the scene confirmed the individual was alone inside. The Sheriff's Office said that deputies tactically disengaged while continuing to monitor the situation. The live stream on Tuesday showed Hilton, whose real name is Mario Armando Lavandiera Jr., with dozens of apparent cuts across his face and body. At several points, he could be seen cutting himself with what appeared to be a sharp knife. He said, "I'm not dead yet," during the broadcast. He's also said, "I want to be dead." And he threatened to provoke police into fatally shooting him. He said, "I hope the cops shoot me to death. I'm going to tell them I'm going to hurt them." The live stream was later taken down by TikTok. The sheriff's office said officers tried to create time and distance during the mental health crises when there's no immediate threat to others, particularly when statements suggest the person may attempt to provoke a fatal confrontation with police. At around 10 o'clock local time Tuesday night, footage from broadcast by one TV station showed Hilton standing at a window of the home, and about an hour later, the person believed to be Hilton was taken from the residence to an ambulance. So kind of a sad situation there, and it doesn't sound like he's in particularly good mental health at the moment. And then there's Ariana Grande. Sunday, she announced that she'll be taking a step back from visibility, suspending her future appearances from her current summer tour. The pop star had just released the music video for her latest single, Petal, which showed her frame ridged with shadows of the bones of her chest. Fans, critics, and consumers of celebrity news responded with a bunch of dismay, alarm, whatever. I think we talked about this yesterday. But the update is that she is still out of the public eye. And hopefully she will be okay. Nearly 1 million drivers could soon be banned from turning right on red under a new proposal. Residents say the rule would slow down traffic. It doesn't need to be extended to local neighborhoods. Now, this is not happening in our area, at least yet. Nashville is weighing a proposal to prohibit drivers from turning right on red lights. The bill was introduced in the Metro Council and would impact downtown Nashville and surrounding neighborhoods. Council member Sandra Sepulveda proposed the bill on Tuesday to protect pedestrians. 21 pedestrians have been killed while crossing the street in Nashville this year. Don't you understand yield to pedestrians in Nashville? I don't think have we had that problem here in Southwest Florida that I'm aware of? No. People being hit by cars turning right on red, that's a thing? Resident Skylar Kaiser told NBC affiliate WSMV that the ban would extend travel time. Well, by how much? A minute? 2 minutes? Who cares? You're saving lives. If there's a car not needing to turn right, it stacks up the traffic to where it just takes a lot longer than it should for people to get past, Kaiser said. I think the real reason, if I recall correctly, and I have to go back a number of years, but it seems to me that the real reason right turns on red were allowed is because during the oil embargo of the 1970s, it was thought that you could save fuel if you didn't have to sit at a red light idling, waiting for the light to turn green so you could turn right. And it was just one small way of reducing fuel consumption by you not having to sit there and wait. I didn't know it had anything to do with saving time, although I guess it probably does. Hey, a reminder, if you haven't heard the good news, we're going to be partnering with Sizzle Dining to make it possible for you to win $100 dining out gift certificates to any one of 140 participating Sizzle restaurants in Southwest Florida. Details to come, but you will soon be getting a chance to win those gift certificates and to sample the dining of all of the Sizzle, or at least one for you, of the Sizzle restaurants. It's all part of a promotion they do every year to encourage people to explore the dining options in Southwest Florida, and a portion of the proceeds of every fixed price meal that they sell goes to Blessings in a Backpack, which guarantees that kids will not go hungry on weekends if they don't have the means or the support to do so themselves. We're going to be talking with Guy Clark, the founder of Sizzle, on Monday. And we're also going to be talking with the folks from Blessings in a Backpack, which I think is one of the great organizations in Southwest Florida that does such incredibly good work. So Sizzle Dining, partnering with the Dave Elliott Show for that. I'm very excited to have that happen. And we'll be presenting messages throughout the month of August and September. Sizzle Dining kicks off September 1st, where you'll first have your opportunity to go sample a place you haven't been in a while, or maybe ever. And you can do that all with the help of a $100 gift certificate. Well, as I mentioned earlier, tonight is the beginning of the pro football preseason. It's the Hall of Fame game. I guess it's going to be on Gulf Coast NBC tonight. Tuesday, the Dolphins released a statement announcing notable shakeups at the executive level of the team. Tom Garfinkel, not to be confused with Art Garfunkel, is stepping away from his role as the Dolphins' vice chairman, president, and CEO, and team owner Stephen Ross's son-in-law Daniel Silman is taking over as CEO. In more specific terms, Ross announced he was combining his Miami-based ventures, the Dolphins, along with Hard Rock Stadium, the Miami Grand Prix, the Miami Open Tennis Tournament, and the Precision Drive Club into one entity to be called Ross Sports and Entertainment. Silman will be the CEO of RSC, while Garfinkel will remain vice chairman of the Dolphins and hold other roles within the organization. As part of Silman's role as CEO of RSC, the Dolphins announced, quote, he will also oversee football operations for the Miami Dolphins. The team's top decision makers, head coach Jeff Hafley, general manager John Eric Sullivan, and executive VP of football operations Brandon Shore, will report directly to Silman. Ross gave Silman his vote of confidence in the Dolphins' announcement of the changes at the executive level, saying his deep familiarity with the organizations and businesses combined with his experience building globally recognized sports and media companies uniquely positions him to lead Ross Sports and Entertainment into its next phase of the operation. By the way, I think Ross, if I'm not mistaken, is 85 and probably just wants to enjoy life a little bit more and has great trust in Silman. So that's all good news for the Dolphins. I think the Dolphins, honestly, I don't know about you, I think the Dolphins are going to have a good season this year. They seem to have the right staff in place. They seem to have good ideas. The practices are going well, and I think you could see the Dolphins making a run for the roses this year. I know that's a mixed sports metaphor. I apologize for that, but it is what it is. Apple, the computer company, got an estimated $2.2 billion tariff refund last quarter. Amazon, $600 million. Nike, $300 million. Refunds. These are monies that they paid in tariffs that were ruled to be unconstitutional or illegal by the Supreme Court. So that right there totals $3.1 billion in tariff refunds just to those three companies. And if you bought something with a tariff on it, you're probably wondering, well, where is my refund? If they got them, I should get one too. But American consumers who paid higher prices as the tariffs kind of filtered through the economy are getting almost nothing back. These corporate payouts may just be the beginning as the government continues processing refund claims after the Supreme Court struck down the levies earlier this year, the most sweeping ones ever, really. In total, the government is on the hook to refund hundreds of thousands of importers, a total of around $166 billion. A little more than half of that has already been paid out, according to a Customs and Border Protection Court filing. So somewhere around $80-some billion has already been paid out. Did you get yours yet? I didn't get mine. The levies cost households an estimated $1,000 on average last year, according to the Tax Foundation. Before the Supreme Court weighed in, the Trump administration had floated the idea of $2,000 tariff rebate checks to redistribute some of the revenue the government had collected. Those, however, never materialized. No, because they're for the little guy, and we can't be bothered with the little guy, you and me. We have to be bothered with the big guys, because what do they provide? Well, funding for government campaigns. The tariff refund system is structured so that only the parties who directly paid the tariffs or the customs brokers acting on their behalf can file for a refund. That means if you bought, for example, a pair of Nike sneakers that became more expensive as the company passed along some of the increased tariff costs, you have no legal way to get the money back. In other words, you're just screwed, blued, and tattooed. Really simple. If you ask the government, for example, if you say to them, what am I going to get back? This is what you hear. This is what you hear. You hear crickets. That's all you get. The levies make it impossible. The rules make it impossible for you to say, well, I want my money back. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. So once again, you pay the price and you get nothing. You get nothing. The big guys get their money back. You get nothing. U.S. crude oil supplies have fallen to their lowest level in 45 years, it is being reported, as the war in Iran continues with only 43 days of global supply left. Lowest level in 45 years. There now exists a thinner cushion against any potential disruptions should the fighting in the Middle East escalate further, according to the Bank of America global research data compiled by Bloomberg. The United States has only 43 days of crude oil supply, including that of the Strategic Petroleum Reserve, compared with a long-term average of about 65 days. The data shows the measure falling to its lowest level since the 1980s. The decline comes as markets fear tightening crude supplies that the U.S. continues to bomb Iran, raising concerns over shipments through the Strait of Hormuz. It comes after an embarrassing final video of Lindsey Graham exposed him humiliatingly mocking the president over his on-again, off-again war. I'm not going to get into the politics of that. I'll just leave that to the reporters or the pundits out there. So what's going to happen? I thought I heard that the Strait of Hormuz was supposed to completely open to all traffic by yesterday. What is the latest on that? I do not know. And what I think is just a complete, I'm not even sure the right word to use to describe this. Travesty comes to mind, or money grab, or heartlessness, you choose. Prediction markets Kalshi and Polymarket have long garnered a reputation for allowing users to make all kinds of ethically dubious bets on the outcomes of deadly conflicts to wildfires, for example. And as the New York Times reports, Kalshi will even allow users to bet on whether clinical tests for potentially life-saving drug trials will succeed. But to researchers, it's yet another morally bankrupt concept that could put real people in danger. There's even risk that those enrolled in those trials could choose to drop out of the market or to bet against a positive outcome. Turning loose a betting market in an ongoing randomized clinical trial really is a breach of scientific conduct, said Robert Califf, who served as FDA commissioner in the Biden administration. He told the New York Times this. Kalshi first announced its, quote, biotech prediction markets pilot program last month, the same day President Trump's teleprompter guy was busted for winning more than $100,000 on Kalshi by betting on what the president would say. You'd think if anybody would know that, it would be the teleprompter guy, and apparently it turned out to be true. The company argued in the announcement that a publicly listed contract on a trial or regulatory outcome produces a continuously updated public probability that reflects the weight of the evidence rather than the preferred messaging of the trial sponsor. In a statement to the Times, spokesperson Jack Such argued that these bets wouldn't undermine research integrity, but instead cut through the hype surrounding biotech companies and the drugs they're working on. But those enrolled in the drug trials are left appalled by the news. We're literally trying to stay alive, said metastatic pancreatic cancer patient Walter Ingaharo Jr. He said, it's not a game. The introduction of gambling into the process really creates an ethical mess. But then again, that implies that if you're a gambler, you have ethics. Or if you're a gambling site, or if you're a gambling purveyor, that implies you have ethics. You know, they make it seem like, have you seen these ads on TV for the online betting in Florida. They make it seem like everybody's going to win $1 jillion. Look at all the great winners. I go, they don't build casinos because gamblers win all the time. You know what I mean? Casinos do not get built on the winnings of the people who go there to gamble. They get built on the winnings of the house, in case you didn't know. Here's a little lifestyle news for you this morning. Cutting 250 calories each day is better. 250 calories each day. That's it. 250 calories. That could be, I don't know what, a milkshake. Don't get that milkshake. It's better for obese older adults than exercise alone. Counting calories is not only good for helping with weight loss, it may help older adults improve their heart health too. Researchers from the American Heart Association found that obese seniors who cut out just 250 calories a day and do some moderate exercise enjoy better heart function than older adults who just focus on advertising. I'm not advertising. I looked right at the word exercising and I said advertising. Don't ask me how I did that because I don't know. So let me read that again. Researchers found that obese seniors who cut out just 250 calories a day and do some moderate exercise enjoy better heart function than older adults who just focus on exercising. Suddenly it makes sense again. All right, coming up on 8:37. When we come back, you ready to win? The impossible question is next.
You've got Dave Elliott.
I'd like to take a minute to talk to you about your hearing, and especially if you are experiencing hearing problems or you've noticed recently that your hearing just isn't as acute as it used to be. Well, the folks at Naples Audiology and Hearing Center can take care of that for you. My friend, audiologist and owner Christine Peacock, and her entire staff are dedicated to one thing and one thing only. And no, it's not the freshly baked chocolate chip cookies you'll find every day when you walk in, but it's your hearing. If you wear cochlear implants, they can help you with that. If you wear hearing aids, they can help you tune them up or get them repaired if they're under warranty, or if you need to be replacing them, they can help you with that too. At Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, they are the experts. They've been around a long time, and it's not this one-size-fits-all thing with them because everybody's hearing concerns are unique. Naples Audiology and Hearing Center, online at napleshearingcenter.com, or call them at 239-434-2434 and tell them you heard about it on the Dave Elliott Show.
Are you ready for a culinary experience like no other? Mark your calendars for the event of the season. Sizzle Dining is happening starting September 1st through the 30th. Picture this, a world of flavors, a celebration of taste, and a chance to make a difference in our community. Savor delectable dishes, expertly crafted by top chefs, each plate telling a story of passion and creativity. But that's not all. Sizzle Dining benefits Blessings in a Backpack of Southwest Florida, a charity dedicated to ensuring no child has a hungry weekend. Dine with purpose. Every time you indulge in the exquisite offerings during Sizzle Dining, a portion of the proceeds will go directly to Blessings in a Backpack. So gather your loved ones, invite your friends, and come experience culinary excellence while making a meaningful impact. Share your moments with #DineWithPurpose. Sizzle Dining, taking place the entire month of September, where taste, compassion, and community come together in perfect harmony. Reserve your table today, because with Sizzle Dining, every bite counts and every meal matters.
Put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go, almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. Talk to someone if you're struggling with mental health, because most people out here really care. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
The impossible question on the Dave Elliott Show.
All right, and a chance for you to win a $25 gift certificate to Alice Sweetwater's. If you are Sally or Rosie or Mala or Diane or Marco or Bobby, sit this one out because you have to wait 30 days before you can win again. You know the rules. Yes, I have loosened the rules to make it only 30 days instead of 60 at the other place. So you wait 30 days and then you can win again. And what we're going to do is ask you the question, you come up with the answer, and then we'll award you the prize if you're the first person to text us with the correct answer. Texting only, please, at 305-699-2665. And it helps if you're local, if you live here, because otherwise you're going to have a hard time commuting to Alice's from Georgian Bay or wherever you may hail from. So those are the rules, and here we go. Here's today's impossible question. A study found the average person gets 17 of these each year, most in summertime. A study found the average person gets 17 of these each year, most in summertime. Text me your answer at 305-699-2665. That's 305-699-COOL. Tell me the answer to the impossible question. If you're the first person to call us and you haven't won anything in the last 30 days, you are the winner. I make it so easy. A study found the average person gets 17 of these each year, most in the summertime. What could this be? Whether you have short sleeves or long sleeves, I think you can still get one of these. But 17 the average person gets each year, mostly in the summertime. What could it be? Let me know at 305-699-2665. It can't be that difficult. I'm sure somebody out there remembers summer times at the camp out, or the backyard barbecue, or the campfire at night. 305-699-2665. Text me your answer. Put your first name in the text along with the answer. If we don't get any winners, no problem. I will post the question on Instagram to give you a chance to think about it. It might be a toughie. And if you get the answer on Instagram, then I will probably award you the winner. I see one person got it. Peggy got it right. Peggy is the winner. Bug bites is the answer. Peggy, you get the winner's bell. Bug bites. Susie in beautiful East Naples said, what did she say? Let's see what she said. Mosquito bites. She's right. But Peggy was our first one this morning. So Peggy wins the prize. And congratulations to her for being the smartest person in town today. Peggy, I will be contacting you after the show and telling you how you can claim your prizes, okay? A study found the average person gets 17 of these each year, most in the summertime. It took a few clues, but Peggy knew the answer was bug bites, mosquito bites, whatever. You got the idea. Congratulations, Peggy. So proud of you. Just so proud of you. And another Peggy weighed in on it. I don't think it's the same Peggy. I think it's a different one. So anyway, there you go. Impossible question for today. I should have given a few buzzers for the wrong answers. But I only have one hand that I can use right now because the other hand is busy monitoring the computer. So you get the idea. All right. Well, bug bites are one thing, but Christmas ornaments at this time of year? Really? Where? Home Depot. They once again joined the growing Christmas in July trend with 2 items that have already sold out. Their latest mid-year collection includes reindeer and Santa decorations as it prepares for the festive season. It's hard to believe, but it's true. We're a mere 6 months away. Well, actually, we're 5 months away, I guess. Shoppers at the Home Depot may need to wait for the retailer to restock the LED reindeer and Santa decor. It's got an 8.5-foot Santa that's ideal for decorating your front or backyard. The extra tall figure carries an illuminated lantern, which offers a realistic flickering flame effect to draw you into the scene. Santa's lantern features a built-in timer, meaning users can maximize the effect of the flame. The Home Depot says the item can be assembled in roughly 45 minutes, and it goes with an 8.5-foot reindeer on top of that. The reindeer features the classic animal design synonymous with the Christmas season, wears bright red reins with LED lights, which also does a great job of illuminating the figure. On social media, fans have already said they're hunting for new Christmas stock from the Home Depot. I can't believe it. Why would you want, now? Really? I dread the thought of going into the store and seeing Christmas trees up next month. I know that there will be, but I dread the thought. I guess, people want to get a little bit ahead of the game. And from Mediaite this morning, Senator Ron Wyden, a Democrat from Oregon, has claimed that 60 Minutes investigation into Jeffrey Epstein's banking relationships, for which he was interviewed, never aired following the exit of the correspondent Sharon Alfonsi as part of the show's staffing changes. The Democratic senator said in a new report that he sat down for an interview with Alfonsi in March as part of a 60 Minutes investigation examining how major financial institutions handled Epstein's accounts and suspicious transactions. The segment, however, never made it to the broadcast, he says, when Alfonsi left CBS News 2 months later. Well, I guess if she wasn't employed there, they didn't want to use her work. Speaking to Bloomberg about the new revelations, the CBS spokesperson confirmed that Wyden's interview took place, but said the story was not completed before the program season ended in May. The network declined to say whether the segment would be revisited when the show returns, according to Bloomberg. According to what they said, responding to Wyden's claims in a statement to Mediaite, the spokesperson said, "We're proud of our aggressive and extensive reporting on the Epstein scandal. That reporting continues. We air pieces when they're ready, and suggesting that an interview is being suppressed for any reason is categorically false." So they're saying nothing nefarious here, nothing to see here. Move on, move on. What is the biggest lie your family told you? Well, on Reddit, people are sharing the big lies they were told as a kid by moms, dads, siblings. What's the biggest lie your family told you? Here are a few answers. One person said, when I asked my mother where babies came from, she told me the grocery store. I asked her where you could get them from because I've never seen a baby department. She said, well, they're a big freezer section where they keep the meat. You just tell them what kind of baby you want, and they go in the back and they thaw it out. That's why they come wrapped in a blanket, because they're so cold. I actually like that one. I think I'm going to use. I wish I'd have known about that when I had kids. One person said when I was about 8, my sister told me that mushrooms are actually tiny trolls, and in order to see them move around and sing, I had to be quiet for 3 hours since they're shy. This resulted in me sitting amongst mushroom patches in our backyard for hours talking to them. And I remember trying to convince them that they can trust me and that we can be friends, said the person. Another lie told by your family? One person said, I grew up near a light bulb factory. When I was pretty young, I asked my dad what they made there. He thought it was hilarious and sarcastically responded with chairs. He said, I went back telling everyone, you know, they actually don't make light bulbs there. That's not that great. And the final one, person said, I asked my father why we only got pineapple occasionally. He explained to me that it's illegal to keep pineapples in captivity, and it was only legal to hunt them during certain times of the year. Very hard to catch and dangerous when cornered. Pineapples. Honestly, I did not know that about pineapples, but now that I know that, I'm going to get a license. Why not? Go hunting for pineapples. Here's another thing somebody asked on Reddit. You have the option to delete one thing from Earth. One thing, you could do that. You could take it, it would just disappear. What is it? Some suggestions, appropriate enough to our impossible question. The first answer, the number one answer was mosquitoes. Somebody said cancer. Somebody else said Facebook. Not sure I disagree with that. Homelessness. But maybe the best thing you could eliminate from the earth, calories. Calories. All right, we're I'm being rushed out of here by the band this morning. They've geared up and they're ready to play a little bit of jazz here from Bob James, the Walkman, this morning. Thank you for hanging out with us. I don't know what happened to our guest, but we'll get to the bottom of that. Tomorrow we'll be joined by Chelsea Murphy with things to do and where to go in town, and former Naples Mayor Bill Barnett will be here. I think we have an interesting conversation with him, so you'll want to join us for both of those two things. And more news of the day, plus a chance for you to win on the impossible question. And don't forget Sizzle Dining coming soon to the Dave Elliott Show. Have a good Thursday, stay dry, and we'll see you tomorrow.